All right, guys, my buddy is back in the building. He has a massive fight, UFC 322 against BSD, pivotal fight for the lightweight division, the hottest division in the UFC. He joins me here. Beneil Dariush, we're not far from Madison Square Garden, man.
Yeah, we're not. You guys should stop by if you can.
Mm. Dude, so much happening in the division. First things first, got to get your instant reaction. Charles Oliveira, the Predator, he's got a new nickname, was able to take out Gamrot in impressive fashion. Obviously, you know Gamrot well. You've beaten him yourself. But what was your reaction when you saw the way Charles was able to do it?
Super impressed with Charles. He looked really good. He looked clean. Didn't take much damage, and he was able to basically do whatever he wanted to Gamrot, which was surprising. I thought Gamrot would be able to do much better, but it is what it is.
Yeah, what do you think that was? Like, obviously, Gamrot didn't have the longest preparation for this fight either, but I thought it was going to look a little bit different. But it was surprising how dominant Charles was in every area.
Yeah, from what I read, his coach said he came in 3 weeks to ATT prior to the fight. So if that's the case, who knows how good his shape is and all that stuff. I mean, that plays a factor how terrible your weight cut is. I'm sure. I'm sure if you talk to the cornerman, they say, hey, if we had a full camp, that fight would look a lot different. I'm sure same thing with Gamrod, but watching the fight, Charles looked great, and Gamrot didn't really have anything for him.
Mm. It's interesting, right? Because there goes the camera. For people
Always.
that don't know, this is a tradition for me and Benil. The camera always plays little games with us. For those that are wondering what's next, obviously we got Armin and Dan Hooker, and I thought maybe the winner of that, especially if Dan wins, that could have been that Max Holloway BMF title fight. But would you prefer to see Charles and Max for that BMF belt? What would you prefer to see in that scenario?
Yeah, that'd be a cool fight because they got history. They fought before, but to be honest, the fight was kind of anticlimactic since I think Charles hurt his clavicle, if I remember
Mm.
correctly, or his shoulder. So they didn't really get to fight. It was over really quickly. So I definitely do think they have history. So it does make sense. But I'm sure Dan Hooker versus Max Holloway or whatever would be pretty cool too. Or Dan Hooker versus um, Charles. Either way, I know Dan's always called out Charles quite a bit.
Mm. Do you think that if this version of Charles Oliveira fights this version of Max Holloway that we last saw win the BMF belt, who do you believe wins? Because I've spoken to a number of people. People have very differing opinions. Some people say Max has the whole package and would win. Others believe, Charles is too good. How do you think it would play out?
I think it depends on who's able to implement what game plan. Because I think if you do a striking battle, I would have to I would go with Max because Max's footwork is, man, it's so underrated. Max, when he says I'm the best boxer in the UFC, you could even I would say it, and I know everybody's gonna be like, oh, but Ilya knocked him out. Ilya landed a bunch of low kicks that were immobilized him. Max does really have amazing hands. Could possibly be the best boxer in the UFC. That being said, if Charles is able to mix it up, throw kicks, go for the takedown, and Charles has great takedown, so if he's able to do that, I think it would be a tough night for Max. But um, it's a toss-up fight. It would actually be a fantastic fight for everybody. That is definitely a fight I would love to see.
Mm. So a lot happening in your division. You're obviously fighting BSD, and we'll talk about that in just a second. But what was your reaction when you saw Armin and Dan Hooker basically made for around the same time? Like, were you guys all in the same kind of talks about, maybe you would fight Dan or Dan would fight you, or maybe, or was it
I,
always you and BSD? How did this all come together?
I was actually asking for I was asking for Dan. I even said Holloway. Who else did I ask for? Somebody else. I think maybe Paddy. And basically, they told me none of those guys are available. And so I have to fight somebody outside of the top 10, or it was Gamrot, fight Gamrot again. And I ended up with Benoit.
Mm. What was your reaction when you saw that Armin and Dan were going to
I,
hash
I,
it out?
I was actually told previously that they were matching, trying to match them up. So it wasn't super surprising to me, but I just think Armand might be a tough fight for him. But it's a 5 round fight. You never know, man. Dan's a dog, and he knows how to win, man. So he might find a way to win.
It's an interesting one because that last win from him was against Gamrot.
Mhm.
Gamrot wrestling heavy. He was quite aggressive with the striking, and Dan was able to stick to a game plan. So, in order to beat Armin here, do you believe it's about sort of stopping those takedowns and grappling exchanges, keeping him on the end of his shots, and sort of playing this thing out very carefully for Dan if he wants to try and pick up this win?
Absolutely, he has to. He's got to be able to stop the grappling, and I think I don't know if he can early on, but it's possible that he can pull it off later in the fight.
Mm. Do you think that if Armin wins here, do you believe that that's enough for him to get this next title shot? Because this whole division is in a weird spot, right? Like, we don't know if it's Ilya and Paddy, Ilya and Gaethje. Surely if Armin wins here, or Dan even, this pushes them up to the top.
Yeah, I would say that's a number one contender fight for both the guys. I think that makes the most sense for one of those guys to get the title shot. I'm hearing rumors of Justin Gaethje, to be honest, getting the title shot. I don't
Hmm.
know how true that is. We'll see how that goes, and that leaves kind of Patty out. So uh, I don't know. I don't know what's next, but I think the people who are most deserving would be the winner of that fight.
Mm. While you fix your camera, I got to also ask you, man, in terms of who you're more interested in seeing to fight Ilya. I know you're mates with Justin Gaethje, but would it be Paddy or Justin that you would like to see get the shot if it was sort of up to you?
Between those two guys, I would say Justin, but I think Armand would be the fight that I would like most to see. I think he's most deserving. He did mess up not making weight. That really pushed him back. But I think he is the most deserving guy because he's done quite a bit.
Mm. Do you see Paddy being a threat for Ilya Tapuria at all?
No, not particularly. I honestly can't see where he would be a threat. In the striking, I think, he's going to be in a lot of danger. In the grappling, if he gets a takedown, he's very good. He's a very good grappler if he can get a takedown. But do I think he can get a takedown on Ilya? I don't know. From what I've seen and what I've heard about Ilya, he has fantastic wrestling, and his takedown defense is world class.
Mm. It's interesting how they said that he was busy when you were asking for him. Because if it is Gaethje, you and Paddy would have been a great fight. Like, it would have made so much sense if
Yeah,
that
yeah,
was
I
the
think so
fight.
too. But to some degree, I think they protect some of their guys. Like, they don't want me to spoil some of these guys. So I think to some degree they also have to, unless they have to give me a top ranked guy, they don't want to give me a top ranked guy.
Mm. Yeah, I'm just having a look through the rankings here. So you had to take a fight backwards against BSD. It's a bit of a bummer, man. I feel like he deserved better, but BSD does have a big name to him. He's been able to come back. Like, ultimately, how do you feel about this matchup being your next one in Madison Square Garden?
I
He's a
mean,
tough fight as well. Like, he's not an easy fight.
yeah, he's a tough fight. I think he's world class. And what else can I ask for? As an athlete who wants to compete against the best in the world, this is the best I'm going to get, then let's do it.
Mm. He was obviously able to come back in his last performance. It was pretty impressive. He was able to go out there and sort of beat Rufy in decisive fashion. What did you take away from that version of BSD that we saw in Paris?
He did really well. And everybody was telling me Roofy's gonna run through him and, um, just completely destroy him. But the grappling was obviously the big difference. And I didn't know what Roofy had as far as grappling, and it's obvious, he's pretty green in the grappling department. So Benoit was able to expose that.
Mm. It's funny because you were actually, I remember I think Rufy might have called you out. or there was some talks
Yeah.
of you guys fighting each other, and now it's like, okay, well, we kind of know how that fight might have played out if it happens. So maybe good for him to get a chance to go back to the drawing board before he potentially matches up with you one day.
Yeah, if I'm Roofy, I'm gonna make sure the way I program my training is basically I have grappling every day. All my other training will be around my grappling and developing my wrestling skills, my jiu-jitsu skills.
It's interesting as well because Jean Silva, when he was fighting Diego Lopez, Lopez was able to get in mount and sort of dominate him on the ground as well. So I don't know, maybe sometimes, that's an area of a game that a camp just kind of glosses over because they were so successful in the past with it. Maybe they didn't pay as much attention to it as they should have. But it's been a fascinating realization about the fighting nerds in that area anyway. Something.
Yeah, I'll say this though. He did survive. He did get back up, and he is hard to take down. Bryce Mitchell tried to take him down a bunch. So it's not that he doesn't have good grappling or he's not capable. It's just in that fight, Lopez was able to take advantage of that kick he threw, I think, and take him down. And he's so heavy on top. It's just, bro, grappling is a different monster. You have to have answers for the worst situations more than you need to have answers for the good situations. I don't know if that makes sense. If you're a striker, you kind of have to be an escape specialist for sure.
Yeah, and it's also something that you have to always work, because it's just not one of those things you can ever just work enough on where you don't have to worry about working hard at it in camp. Hey, BSD, let's talk about him. As a matchup, you mentioned he looked impressive in Paris. How do you feel he matches up with you?
He's well rounded and he does everything well, so that makes him quite dangerous. But I think I'm more well rounded. I think whether it's striking or grappling, I'm going to have the advantage, and ultimately I'm going to get the finish. I think I'm better than him everywhere. So that's we'll see how the fight goes.
Yeah, the grappling is going to be very interesting. Obviously, you're known for your grappling. He's known for his. How do you think the ground battles will look in this one? Do you think it will hit the ground, or do you think the fact that both of you guys are so good at it might keep it standing for a lot of the fight?
I think we'll see the ground. I mean, I think he'll shoot, which is fine. And I think if I feel like taking him down, I'll take him down. As far as the grappling goes, I do think I'm more experienced, but that doesn't always mean you're gonna win. Just because you're more experienced as a grappler doesn't always mean you're gonna be the better grappler. We'll see. I think ultimately it's gonna depend on who's able to hold the other person down, and he's gonna have to try to hold me down, and vice versa.
Mm. By the way, I know last time we spoke, it was a little bit after that last win that you had. You were a little bit hard on yourself, but what's it been like being, coming off this win, going into this camp? What's this camp been like for you coming off this win?
A lot, a lot more specific training because like you said, I was very, very unhappy with the last performance. So, in if you want to get better and improve the mistakes you made, you have to do a lot of specific training, which is boring, but it's what
Mhm.
makes you better. So I've been doing a lot more boring training, and it is what it is. That's what it takes to become champion. So we do what we got to do. But I have been seeing the fruit of it, so I can't complain.
I know sometimes you're not 100% going into your fights physically. Feeling good ahead of New York.
Yeah, I feel great, man. I never made an excuse about my health, man. I always feel good. Sometimes it just doesn't work out.
Yeah, you always feel good, but then it's like your knee is in five pieces after the
Yeah,
fight. You're like, yeah.
the whole knee thing is it's fake news, bro. You don't need a meniscus. That's not really a thing.
Hey, by the way, big card, right? Like just looking through Madison Square Garden, I'm so happy for you, man. This is even though BSD is not the opponent that you would have wanted, it's a huge card, and it's also in an epic area in New York where all the biggest fights happen. You'll be on the same fight card as Leon Edwards and Carlos Prates, the Shevchenko Zhang fight. but also the JDM Islam Makhachev fight, man. I know like we've spoken about it a few times now, but now that we're closer to it, what are you expecting from it? Are you going to try to get out there after your fight if things go to plan to watch this? It feels like it's like one of those once in a lifetime fights.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to get out there if I can. They normally just kick us out so quickly. So when I say kick us out, they'd send us back to our hotels as soon as our interviews are done. That's like a policy ever since COVID. But if I can get out there and watch, that would be ideal, man.
I was
Uh,
no, sorry,
that's
go
going to
on.
be such a good fight. I'm wondering how that goes. Earlier on, I was leaning towards Islam Makhachev, and now I'm leaning towards JDM, but I don't know why.
Yeah,
I
why are you
don't
leaning towards JDM now? Tell me what is it?
I don't have a logical reason for it, but I just been thinking more about it, bro. He is bigger, he's fast. It's not like he's a slow fighter. He's young. There's not a whole lot like in his game. He showed a whole different game. I've seen his old fights. If I watch just his old fights and not watch his most recent fight with Bilal, I would definitely be like, okay, Makhachev has this fight. But after watching him fight with Bilal, I think his chances of winning are a lot better.
I was over at Scrappy MMA when they did the Perth UFC a few weeks ago. Got a chance to watch him hit pads up close and just get to see where he was at mentally. And man, he's looking like an absolute weapon.
I'm sure.
It's a tough first assignment, right? It's a tough first assignment for Islam when you move up weight class, jumping straight in there with someone who's basically like 28, hitting their peak, bigger, probably stronger, hits harder. It's definitely
Yeah.
not an easy fight.
Yeah, that's what I think too. So we'll see how that goes.
All right, guys, I just want to thank Manscaped for bringing you this content and supporting Submission Radio. Of course, you guys could go to Manscaped right now, use the code word submission for 15% off your entire order at manscaped.com. And I'm talking about the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. The white hot version isn't just another pretty face. It's built to handle your most sensitive areas with care, helping reduce the risk of nicks, cuts, and irritation where it matters most. Whether you're cleaning things up for a date, a trip, or just feel a bit more put together, the white hot trimmer makes below the waist grooming a whole lot smoother with a clean white and gold finish that just looks as good as it shaves. Join the over 12 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped now. Use the code word submission, 15% off. It's one of the best looking trimmers out there. And of course, go on the website right now. They have all sorts of great products you could apply the discount code to, from the bead hedger to the weed whacker to the most comfortable underwear and t-shirts. Manscaped has you sorted. Again, the white hot 5.0 Ultra brings the heat without cooking your skin. If you don't have one today, why not get the white hot 5.0 Ultra today? It brings the heat without cooking your skin. It's sleek, it's easy to use, way less terrifying than whatever you were using before. Use the code word submission, 15% off and free shipping. That's code word submission, 15% off and free shipping, and you're supporting yourself and the program. Go do it today. And now back to the program. Hey, by the way, if things do go to plan against BSD, what are we looking for here next? Because it is an interesting division. Like you mentioned, Holloway, there's the rematches with people like Charles. I guess we'll see how Dan Hooker and Armin plays out. I have a feeling the UFC is going to try and throw Fiziev your way for some reason. I don't know. Because you're like a nice guy, and they're like, he'll take the fight. Let's give
no,
it.
in a perfect world, I get the loser of the Dan Hooker and Arman Sarukian, because that fight makes sense. They're both at 6-1 or whatever their rank is. So it's either those guys or maybe Paddy. I don't know. Paddy's is like almost like a unicorn. It doesn't make sense to chase it, you know. Or maybe Paddy. We'll see. I just can't think of who is available right now because it seems like Charles just wants to fight Max. I don't know what they're doing with Justin. It's just one of those things I just don't know. So I'm gonna go get this fight done, and then a week later, I'll have some options to look at.
It's pretty wild as well because Paddy's actually ranked number 7 right now.
Yeah, there was a minute where he was ranked behind me, and then all of a sudden they just moved him ahead of me.
Because I love Paddy Pimblett. All respect to him, but so he beat Jordan Levitt, Jared Gordon, Tony Ferguson, Bobby Green, and then Michael Chandler in April, and he's 7th. But then, yeah, you just beat Moicano.
Jared Gordon fight wasn't. You know, that fight. I still think Jared won, but that's besides the point.
Yeah,
We have different we have a different resume for sure. I've been around a lot longer than him, but that doesn't mean anything. It's just whoever's the best fighter. So we'll see if they give me the option to even fight him.
All right, man. Oh, by the way, timeline-wise, how quick would you want to be back? There's some big things next year as well, right? You got the White House card. I know you're going to want to get onto that card, but then also you got those CBS cards as well. So there's big ones coming up there. What are you thinking? If you come out unscathed, when would
Uh,
you like to be back?
I really want to fight in Australia. There's a lot of Syrians in Australia, so it's before I retire, it's like Australia and Chicago. Those are the two places I want to fight.
Yeah, man. Well, that's going to be February, I think, in Sydney. So that could,
February. So
yeah.
that makes it a pretty quick turnaround. So hopefully I can pull that off.
Yes, I'll fly up to Sydney, man. We'll go have some fun up
Yeah,
in
that'd be
Sydney.
cool. Are you sure
Yeah.
it's February? I mean, March will be a little bit easier.
Let me have a chat, man. I'll talk
Yeah,
to Alex Okanovsky. Let me pull some strings around here, see what I can do to delay this thing a little bit.
perfect. Thanks, bro.
All right, there he is, Beneil Dariush. Man, I can't wait. We'll chat afterwards, but best of luck going into Madison Square Garden. It's going to be, this is one of the fights people are most looking forward to on the card. I can't wait to watch it. Thanks for joining me here on Submission Radio.
My pleasure, brother. Looking forward to speaking to you right before the fight and then after the fight.